Have you ever looked at a giant tree or even just thought about your own body and wondered how it all works? I mean, we're talking trillions of cells. How does all that complexity not just fall apart into a chaotic mess? Well, the answer is an absolutely brilliant piece of biological engineering called tissues. So, let's dive into this and see how life gets organized.
Okay, so on one end of the spectrum, you've got something like an amoeba. It's just one single cell, and that one cell has to do everything. It has to move, eat, breathe, get rid of waste, you name it. It is the ultimate multitasker. But for a big, multicellular organism like us, trying to have every cell do everything would be a complete disaster. We needed a different strategy. We needed specialists. And that solution is a concept you've probably heard of before, a division of labor. It's just like in a well-run factory. You have different groups of cells that each take on one specific job. And because these cells only have to focus on that one particular function, they get really, really good at it. Super efficient. This right here is the secret sauce for building complex life.
So, let's dig into what this division of labor actually looks like in practice. We're going to see just how these specialist cells form these incredibly effective teams.
That team of specialized cells, that's what we call a tissue. You can really think of it like a sports team where every player has a similar build and skill set, and they're all working together towards one single goal. The whole arrangement is designed for maximum efficiency.
And these teams, well, they're everywhere. In us, you've got muscle tissue that contracts to let us move, and blood tissue that zips oxygen all around our bodies. In plants, a tissue called phloem is busy transporting food. They're all different, but they're all examples of the exact same amazing principle at work.
You know, this brings up a really good question. I mean, a tree and a tiger lead very different lives, right? One is stuck in the ground, the other's chasing down its next meal. So are there internal toolkits, their tissues, built from the same blueprints?
To answer that, we have to compare their most basic strategies for survival. Because in biology, lifestyle dictates design. It's as simple as that.
Just look at this breakdown. It tells you everything you need to know about how lifestyle shapes biology. Plants, they're stationary. They don't move, so they can get away with using cheaper, dead cells for a lot of their support structure. It's a fantastic energy-saving trick. Animals, on the other hand, are always on the move. We need living, energy-guzzling tissues to power all that action. Even the way we grow is completely different. Plants build themselves up from these specific little construction zones, while animal growth is much more spread out.
So let's start with the plant's toolkit. How in the world does a stationary organism grow? Well, it uses a specialized kind of growth engine called meristematic tissue.
You see, a plant doesn't just get bigger all over. Instead, it has these very specific construction zones that are packed with cells that are constantly dividing. These spots are the only places where growth happens, and this special tissue is called the meristem.
And these growth zones kind of come in a few different flavors. You've got apical meristem. Think of this as the get taller tissue. It's right at the tips of stems and roots, always pushing upward and downward. Then there's lateral meristem. This is the get wider tissue. It's what makes a tree trunk get thicker year after year. And finally, some plants also have something called intercalary meristem, which helps leaves and stems grow out from their base.
Okay, so once the meristem creates new cells, those cells have to figure out what they're going to be when they grow up. They take on a specific role and then they stop dividing. This whole process is called differentiation, and it creates the permanent, hard-working tissues of the plant. The simplest ones are made of just one type of cell.
Say hello to parenchyma. This stuff is the most common simple tissue you'll find. It's kind of like a general-purpose living tissue, and its main job is to store food. You can see how it's usually packed kind of loosely with plenty of space between the cells.
Next up, we've got collenchyma. Its entire purpose is to provide flexible support. This is the tissue that lets a leaf stalk or a vine bend and sway in the wind without just snapping in half. It's all about strength, but with a bit of give. And for pure, hardcore, rigid strength, plants turn to sclerenchyma. Now, here's the crucial part. The cells that make up this tissue are dead. Their walls are incredibly thick and hard, almost like concrete, which is exactly what gives the plant its stiffness. Yep, this is the stuff that makes a plant hard and stiff. If you want a perfect real-world example, just think about the husk of a coconut. You know how incredibly tough that is to crack? That's all thanks to sclerenchyma. It's basically biological armor. All right, so beyond those simple one-job tissues, plants also have complex ones, and these are the big ones.
Think of them as the plant's internal superhighways, the plumbing system that moves water and food all around.
So, what makes them complex? Well, it's because they're made of more than one type of cell. It's like a multi-talented construction crew, where you've got different specialists all working together to get one big, important job done. In this case, transport. The two main players here are Xylem and Phloem. Xylem forms these long tubes that act like straws, pulling water and minerals up from the roots to the rest of the plant. Phloem, on the other hand, is a living tissue that transports food, like the sugars made in the leaves, down to everywhere else that needs energy. Together, they are the absolute lifeline of the plant.
Okay, let's switch gears completely and take a look at the animal toolkit. Because if plants are built for stability and staying put, animals are built for action. And that demands a totally different set of tissues. Tissues designed for movement, quick responses, and burning a lot of energy.
So instead of all that rigid, often dead tissue you see in plants, animals rely on living, dynamic stuff. We've got muscular tissue that contracts to power every single move we make. We have connective tissue, like our bones and our blood, which gives us a flexible framework and acts as an internal delivery service. Epithelial tissue forms our skin and the linings of our organs, a critical protective barrier. And of course, nervous tissue creates a high-speed communications network, zapping messages around our body in milliseconds. Each one is a perfect solution for a life on the move.
So, here's the big takeaway. Tissues aren't just random clumps of cells. Not at all. They are highly specialized, elegantly designed teams where the structure is perfectly matched to the job it has to do. And it's this specialization that makes the incredible complexity of plants and animals even possible.
So from the hard, stiff sclerenchyma in the bark of a tree to the muscular tissue that powers the steady, rhythmic beat of your own heart, life is basically run by these amazing specialist teams. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other incredible teams are hard at work inside you right this very second, keeping the whole show running?